Hi there, Alex here. Welcome to another episode on Sweet Spot Soul, talking twin flames and all those things around the journey to find our way back home to unconditional love, back to a unity consciousness, a level of being able to see the world and experience the world without positions, without judgments, without all the expectations that we put on the world to make us happy, and instead self-sourcing all of that love, coming to such a place of fullness and joy and peace within that it's just overflowing and is reflected in everything in your life. And that is the journey. And that unity consciousness, it's not so much non-duality, it's about seeing the connectedness of all and seeing that from a higher and higher and higher vantage point along this journey. So as you're initiated on this journey, as you know, it's very polarizing. That's the whole thing. Everything that's unlike your truth is getting pushed out into a shared energetic field that you now get to interact with such an intense desire for wholeness because of that other person. And yet also this intense activation of all of the pain and all of the distortions that you've carried not only with you in this lifetime, but likely ancestrally when you came in. So it's extremely polarizing, but what's really polarized is you with you. The parts of you that you love and desire and want so desperately to feel whole again that you experienced during that bubble love phase of meeting yourself and another and having that merge come together and seeing that and feeling that wholeness that is your divine counterpart. That counterpart is the rest of you that you have pushed away, right? That you've pushed out, that is being reflected in another. There's a video called Your Twin Flame is You Pushed Out. Please watch it if you haven't in the past. In fact, all of these episodes are numbered if you're just finding me right now and if this is resonating. So there's that part. And then there's the part of you that you did also push out, which is all the stuff you've denied, all the distortions, the judgments, all of the self-judgments, the wounds, the things that have not been processed, all of the blockages that keep you in the lower chakras, that don't allow your life force energy to flow into the heart space, which is where we're moving. We're moving from the solar plexus to the heart, to living from the heart. This is where you meet your twin flame. Your twin flame is you. This is where you get to be in the 0 point, no polarity there. And you can live in the space of 0 point, no polarity within, in a dual universe, in a dual world. And this is the reason why I love to teach, not just going into Zen states, but embodying soul. So you can live in this world of duality, right? But yet from a space of wholeheartedness. So you're whole and complete and in union within, in which case you see the unity of all without, even within the dual universe. So you become the watcher of these things. You recognize that you've created everything. The universe that you are in is yours. It's what you've created. You are a unique aperture of source, of God. You're like an eye of God, and we all are. We're all drops in the same ocean. And so you created this experience for yourself in order to polarize yourself, because you are your twin flame, to polarize yourself so that you could know the love that you are and alchemize the distortions that you're not any longer. And until that's done, you will feel the pain of separation. You will push, and your own wholeness will pull. Okay. I'm not saying that your twin flame, your physical incarnation, is going to make you whole. Please do not hear that wrong. It's you that makes yourself whole, and it gets reflected in that twin. That twin is really just a mirror. Okay. So this is an inside job for you to come into the wholeness within you. And that, again, is reflected everywhere. Now, it's reflected literally everywhere in other people. And so, too, are the distortions reflected everywhere. So what is it I want to share here today with that foundation? So I was working with a client the other day, and I had actually had, a couple of moments of my own in that day where I was taking position with things. I was actually stepping into a little bit of that dual way of being within my own life. And I had to write down on my hand, I literally had it written, no position, just to remind myself I take no position. So it's one thing when you feel a tightness and you feel a closure, something is hitting you that is not true. It's not as source sees it. So you feel the closure either in the heart, the solar plexus, something. Doesn't, I'm not sure where you are on your journey. You could be at a point where you're triggered all the time. It could just be a little something. It could be from anyone or any situation in your life that causes this closure. And so this is a practice that I do that I just find really helpful. I sink into the moment, of course. First things first, can I get present right now? Can I just be with my breath for a second? Can I allow this feeling to come through and just not judge it, not even think about it or anything? Just let the feeling move its way through, breathe, just breathe through it, right? If it's big enough. And then you can later on go to the mind, bringing the mind through the heart into this through the soul, okay, and asking, okay, is there something I'm supposed to learn here? Is there something I'm supposed to see? Can I see this through the eyes of love? How does love see this? If there's a revelation for me, please show it to me, at some point. And then you move forward, okay? You don't have to go any further than that, but invite it. Ask and it is given. If you're meant to learn something, then learn it. You don't want to keep hitting the same freaking roadblock, right? So you can do that. In this case, for me, it was just some little things. I was just feeling little triggers, little tiny things. But every single time I feel that tiny bit of closure, and that becomes more and more and more apparent as you come into soul living and into union within, is anything that's not, you will feel it very quickly. It's like an instant feeling. And so I was getting hit a bit. So I write down this no position. And what that means is get present. Okay, what is it? Why am I taking a position on this? Can I take no position? Do I need to judge this? Can I let this be okay? And just bam, you could just stop yourself right in that moment. No, I don't need to take a position on this. Actually, I can be okay with this. And that's it. And it's just like this quick little realign, realign, realign. Okay, so that was just something that I wanted to share with you because it really made a difference in that day when I was getting pulled into the mind. I was getting pulled into the past and the future. And this wasn't even involving my twin either. This was literally just, some stuff that was going on. I'm like, what is this? And so I just kind of pulled myself back in. And when it happened a few times, I was like, all right, maybe this is something I'll take to the journal or I'll take to meditation to contemplate a little bit and to ask, because I don't really feel like having this happen again, at least not on this situation. So that's just some thoughts that can help you in the moment, okay? But I wanted to also leave this this video with this idea also that came up during some of my coaching. And I thought this was really helpful because I want you to understand what it feels like when you're with the twin and what it felt like before you went through the journey, okay? Or depending again where you are. So if you've ever lived with somebody that's not your twin, right? If you've ever lived with somebody or you have family or a spouse or, a partner or what have you, you probably remember when you're in the kitchen and you're making, you're doing the dishes or dinner or whatever, doing the garbage. Basically, there's this sort of judgment that can go on, and expectation that can go on, and frustration that can go on, because for whatever reason, we just think, well, okay, you should be taking out the trash. Why am I taking out the trash so much? Why do I always seem to be the one doing the dishes? Or I'm making dinner, so I expect that you're going to do the dishes, or, all these different little agreements that we've made without even necessarily asking. They're most often just expectations. And then there's judgments because if they're not doing as much as you, like there's all of this sort of horizontal stuff going on, expectations of the other person, preferences that they do things in a certain way, judgments if they don't, and all the trappings of that. And then maybe there's contracts that you've created, okay, well, I'm going to do it this many times and you do it that many times, and you make these different agreements, and then who's going to police the agreements, and you're not holding up to your end of the bargain, what's wrong, and, and then it can show up in the bedroom. I mean, let's just go on and on, right? We know what that's about. Then there's times when you're alone, okay? Let's say that relationship didn't work out and then you end up alone. I'm not talking about the twin here, okay? Just in general. Well, I suppose it could be the twin. Well, it doesn't really matter, because when you're alone, then comes all of there's two different ways that this can go. There could be all this, oh, I'm lonely. Oh, I wish I had somebody. Oh, life is expensive. It would be really nice to have somebody else there, to kind of help out. I don't have time to do all the dishes. I don't have time to do all this laundry. Man, it would be really cool to have somebody to do this. And so there's this sort of like other sense that things can kick in, right? When you're alone, that you're not okay with being alone. So here you are with somebody and all of the things that aren't okay to make you comfortable and happy. And then here you are without somebody and all the things that are not okay to make you comfortable and happy, right? So we have attractions and aversions, all these different ways that we're dealing with things. And then we have the ideal scenario. And this is what I would call innerunion energy. Okay, literally just in the kitchen. You live by yourself. You do the dishes, you do your own laundry, you take care of yourself, you find work that's interesting and that's even meaningful, or you do meaningful things, or you create artwork, you dance because you want to dance. You just take care of everything without complaints, without expecting anybody else to do it, and without any need for it to look different. You just do it. You just take care of things, and you do it more and more and more with a reverence for that. You start to appreciate the freedom. You appreciate that there's no ups and downs and so on, that you're emotionally stable. You're not you're not attracted to it being different or running away from it to make it different. There's just this equilibrium, this unity within you in doing life in your kitchen, right? Again, that's just an example. Now, when the twin comes back, this is the key, is to maintain that union energy when the twin comes back. And you still do the dishes, you still do the laundry, you still do all of the things with no expectations that they do it different, making no agreements that it's going to be another way. None of it. Not getting frustrated that they're not just stepping in. You continue to love yourself enough to maintain that union and that comfort and that taking care of yourself first, always, 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 always. And they could be there, and guess what? They'll reflect. They're going to take care of you too. They'll just start stepping in and doing those things because that's the reflection of your energetics of loving yourself and not complaining about things and wanting things to be different. Because that is you pushing out distorted ways of seeing things, and that is what mirrors from the twin. So I just wanted to give you that kind of example because there's a big difference between being in the same house with somebody and being so frustrated because they're not doing all the things that you expect, and you're judging them for it and all of the things, versus just being as if you're single, doing all the things without any complaints, but with that person. Everyone deserves that peace. And that's completely your choice, and that's where you're going. Okay. And you deserve that. And take note of that as well. You might have beliefs that say, I don't deserve that. I'm not worthy of that. They're not going to stick around if I don't do all the things for them. All of those beliefs got to go too. That's why I like to inquire a little bit. And that's why I do the work I do as well, is to mine some of those things out, because they pull us down and they make it harder to be present with that. They make it harder for you to just see things neutrally and be in the now moment, because the mind is just, that the ego can just pull and pull and pull. So recognize that as well. I just wanted to share that little piece. I could go on and on. I could talk for hours and hours, but I hope that this is a little bit, enlightening, maybe, but certainly helpful for the day. And I will be back with more. So thank you so much for your attention. If you're interested in working with me, just check the box below. Lots of information there, and I would be thrilled to help you along this journey. So have a great rest of your day.